Hi and welcome to SQL Learning Zone, brought to you by me, your instructor Alex Headley, and in this tech help video we're going to learn how to create a stored procedure in SSMS. So if you open up your version of SSMS, mine's version 22, you might be on a different version but this should still work. I'm going to connect to my Express instance. Now if you haven't installed SQL Server Express or created a database, please find my previous videos that show you how to do this. I'm going to assume you have the 599 CD database ready. In a previous video I just created a simple temp table. There isn't much to this, it's just got a couple of records in. You'll see we've got a temp queue as well, so that's just returning everything from the table, nothing fancy. And then in today's lesson we're going to learn how to create a stored procedure. So we'll use an example of, we have a select statement and we're going to create a new one. So instead of creating the top or returning back the top 1000, I'm going to return back one. I'm going to add a where clause and I'm going to say where the ID is equal to a specific ID. So we'll grab the ID and we'll paste it in here and run it, and you can see instead of there being 2 records now there are 1. Now you'll have probably done this previously in like an Access database where you're wanting to filter your data for a particular customer or order or whatnot, and you want to pass in a parameter from a form. So you can do this with a stored procedure. So if we go down to the folder programmability and stored procedures, I'll put my teeth back in, you can click on stored procedure and it will create the template for you. I'm just going to get rid of a load of this just so it's not confusing, and we can kind of go through this in a later video, but for now I'm going to start with giving it a name. So I'm just going to prefix it SP for stored procedure and call it temp for now, and then I'm going to take the query that we created earlier. I'm just going to copy that, I'm going to paste it here. And then instead of hard coding an ID, I want to pass in an ID, so I can do this for any record. So as you can see, it's saying that there's an at param and then a data type. So we're going to do at ID, and I'm just going to do nvarchar, and I'm going to give it 255. Now you might have like a specific data type or a length that you know. For instance, the GUID has a particular length, you could lower that down to that amount, but for now I'm just going to leave it at that, and then I'm going to pass in the ID here. Click execute, and this actually creates the stored procedure. So if you right click on the folder and refresh, now when we expand stored procedures we have a stored procedure that we've just created. Now to execute that stored procedure you can click execute and it'll pop up a dialog with all of the parameters that you've created. Now the value, we want to take one of the IDs. I'll take the other one just to prove that it works, and then bring back up the pop-up. Now this is a string, but you don't actually need to put quotes around it because it'll add quotes for you. And as you can see, it's executing the stored procedure and setting the result to be the return value, and then it's displaying the return value and the result in the dialogues below. So that's a quick and easy way of how to create a stored procedure in SSMS. I'll go into further examples in the future. One quick aside I can show you is the Northwind database. So if we jump back to our databases, if you watched my previous video on how to install Northwind, you can go into there and go into the same folder structure. You can see that there were a number of stored procedures that were created. If we modify that, we can see that we have a select query and it's got a where clause very much like ours with an ID that's being passed in, and it's doing some grouping and some summing and things like that. So as you can see, you can be quite versatile with a stored procedure and do a number of different things with it, and it just makes it easy to get exactly what information you want. So yeah, see you in the next one.